Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be testing out Jaclyn Hill's powder routine. She recently uploaded a foundation routine, but she talked about a certain powder. I've talked about this powder on my channel before, but never in a million years did I expect to get 1,000 comments asking me about this powder again. I think I've talked about it at least 5 times on my channel. I have a lot of thoughts on this powder. I do like it, but what I am going to do is show you guys my routine with my powder and her routine with how she does the powder and everything on top. Not doing the exact foundation routine. I'm just using my Bobbi Brown and we're gonna go with that. The first time I purchased this powder, I purchased it in Golden. I believe there's only 2 shades in this powder, which let me tell you what this powder is called. This is the Lancome Absolue powder, and the shade I have is Peche. The 2 shades that have this radiance to it is Peche and Golden. There might be another one, but I am not certain, so let us know down below if you know for sure. But I know those are the 2 shades that have that super radiant finish. There's other ones that don't. While I think this powder is pretty, and I have used it sometimes for buffing, like I always put a powder at the end of my entire routine, I do feel like I have to wear a matte or satin type of foundation with it. For me personally, using this powder as a setting powder, which is how I used it today, definitely gives my skin a lot more texture, or I guess emphasizes the texture. Technically, this side of my face has more texture on it than this side, but to me, this side looks more textured, and we'll get into that. But that is my biggest concern when people ask me if I recommend it. Most people's faces are not super smooth. Now, Jaclyn, on the other hand, she's an exception to the rule. She's gorgeous. Her skin's flawless. I have pores. I break out all the time, so I have acne marks. Sometimes I have current, like, active acne. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate how she applied it in her video. It looked flawless on her, but I'm going to see how it works for me because I've never applied it the way she did, and she used another powder with it as well. So I'm going to try it. We're going to go ahead and go into this, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts at the end. I'm going to start off with the right side of my face. I'm going to do my normal routine, and then we will do Jaclyn's routine on the left side. I'm wearing the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation, something like that. And I'm now going to use my YSL Souffle Declat number 2 and the Golden Triangle 974. I like to just press this into the skin. This is a semi-radiant, not too radiant, and semi-matte. It's like right in between. It's perfect for me. You do have to be careful with this one. It will lighten your foundation a little bit, but usually when I go back in with like a spray or something, it melts it into the skin, and then I don't have any issues. And I like to let it set just a little bit and then go back in and just dust off, like buff off any excess that could be remaining on the skin. Now on Jaclyn's side, she used a pressed powder to set, and she used a sponge. She used the Charlotte Tilbury. I don't have that powder, but I grabbed one of my favorite pressed powders. This is the La Mer, and I'm using the shade Light. And then a sponge like this. I think she used a Morphe one. I've just grabbed the only one that I had that had like this flat edge. I think this is from Eco Tools. So I'm going to take this. This is dampened. I'm going to go right into the powder. She tapped off the excess on her hand. I don't want powder on my hands, so I'm just going to tap off the excess on this towel right in front of me. And then I'm going to start pressing this into the skin just like she did. I actually love this. This is a great way to apply powder if you want a little bit more coverage. Traditionally, I don't want to add any coverage with my powder, but that's just me. But this does also give a very airbrushed, but also very matte finish. For me, this is the part where I would go in, I would add my bronzer, my blush, highlight, everything, and then I go on top and I buff with a radiant powder. She goes straight in before that with a radiant powder. This is the Absolute powder in the shade Peche, and it's from Lancome. Now, I'm just going to do what she does, and I'm going to take this sponge again, and I'm going to dip into this powder. Again, knocking off any excess on my towel, and then I'm going to start pressing this into the skin once more. And again, this can lighten your foundation as it's doing. Everything should come together right at the end when I spray my face. I think my skin in of itself looks nice, but my pores, my texture right here is making me cringe a little bit. I don't know if you can tell on camera that there's more texture on this side than there is on this side, but don't worry, I will zoom you guys in. I turned down the light so you guys maybe can see a little bit better. This side, my pores, everything looks super duper smooth to me. This side, while my skin looks radiant, my pores, all the texture on this side of my skin, it does not look good, but I just want you guys to be able to see what I am talking about. Usually radiant powders over top of pores don't exactly get along. I'm sorry, guys. I just got a comment asking me to take the filter off my camera, and it just makes me... I barely know how to edit. I don't even know, like, is that something that goes on your camera? Is it something that does in editing? I don't know, but I swear on my children's lives, on my puppy's lives, on Miss Charlie's life right here, I don't use a filter. I do edit my Instagram pictures, but I don't do any trickery here. Anywho, I am gonna go ahead and bronze up my face. I'm using Seaside from Nars. I am so in love with this brush, you guys. I love it so much. It is so soft, and I've been using it over and over and over again. I've washed it so many times, and it's still really soft. It's the 959 from Delium. I can just blend and blend, and it's beautiful. It doesn't lift my foundation. I just love it. I'm still just sitting here laughing. I have to stop doing my makeup, and I'm just laughing. Oh, it makes me giggle. Don't get me wrong, they weren't rude at all. It just makes me giggle. Now I'm gonna go in with Chanel Elegance and my Linda Hallberg 310. I feel like this blush just goes so nice with this eye look. For highlight, I'm gonna go in with the smoothest one I know, just because I really don't want to add too much texture to the opposite side. Hourglass Metallic Strobe Light and my fan brush from Sigma. This product never fails, ever. So good. Now I'm going to spray my face. I've been using this quite a bit. I don't want to use a setting spray. I just want to add a little bit of hydration in. So this is the Nirvana Mist from Josie Maran. And then I'm going to buff on top because I just want a little bit of hydration now. To finish off this side, I am going to buff, and I'm going to use my Sisley powder. It's loose in my La Mer brush. This is what I like to do to add in a bit of radiance back into my skin because it is pretty matte whenever I finish everything. But this just adds a little bit of glow. It diffuses everything. It looks like I have a filter on my face. So this is the completed powder, I guess, routine on both sides. See this one? And then this one? You can definitely see a nice glow coming from the skin here, but the texture, especially right here, is too much for me. Again, I will zoom you guys in. Then I gotta finish like my mascara and lipstick and stuff. This side is my routine here. I do think that the under eye actually looks a little bit brighter with this powder, but I think it's because it reflects so much light and it's a little bit more white than the powders I use, especially the Sisley. That calms everything back down like to a natural skin tone. But this right here, I just hope you guys can see on camera. Like my pores and everything, when I start to sweat and this is not fresh, it is not going to be cute. And there's just too much texture on my cheek here. Whereas I think this side is so much smoother. This one just it accentuates the texture I have on my skin and accentuates my pores. So I'm sure you guys have no doubts. I do not prefer this method for me personally. I think that the technique could definitely work for me with a powder, maybe the Sisley powder instead of the Lancôme, so it wouldn't add so much texture. But honestly, I like the buffing technique because it just diffuses everything you also put on top. Now, if you wanted to do this because you have amazing skin and I hate you, no, I'm just kidding, I don't hate you. You could take a brush, like my La Mer brush with no product on there, and just dust over it, and that will also help to diffuse anything. I feel like everything's blended just fine, but I like that filter kind of look. For me, especially in person, this part of my face right here, I hate it. I'm looking in the camera, I mean in the mirror right here, I'm just like, oh, I want to smooth it out so badly. But with that being said, I don't think this is a bad powder. If you want to try it, 100% try it. If you have textured skin, the best way I would suggest to use this is as a buffing powder at the end, where you're using very little product and you've gotten everything done, everything's perfect, and this will just add a glow on top of it. I like this powder that way, but I don't use it as often as the other powders just because it's really radiant. I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. I really just wanted to do a video just because the amount of comments and questions, snaps on YouTube, on Instagram about this powder, and it's so hard for me to be like, well, if your skin is like this, you can use this technique and this technique. It's way easier for me just to demonstrate it, tell you guys, and get it done. But this is no offense to Jaclyn at all. Like, I think she's the queen. I do not have any ill will, but my skin is very different from hers. So I want to help people that maybe have skin and pores like mine. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoy this, and I will see you guys in my next video.